Hello from the land of TV. This is King Cool. Welcome to the Toast Reviews. No, we do not adjust your set. We are doing something a little different today because it's actually the day I'm supposed to put this episode up, and I didn't feel like. Well, I was sick on Monday, and I was feeling sort of crappy on Tuesday, so I'm like, you know. So I'm recording this the day it's supposed to go up, and it'll be up as soon as I can, like literally. And today I'm making up oatmeal cookies, and they say you should toast the oatmeal for 20 minutes. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm like, you know what? This is toasting. I'm gonna do this. Now I have to change angles. And the movie we're talking about today is Charlie's Angels. Set this for 10 minutes, and I'm gonna flip them over because my pan's a little small. So okay. So, Charlie's Angels. Why don't I go over the things that I liked about it first? I'm going to look over my notes. Want to see how many notes I got? I have 2 full pages of notes. Remember my invert, the last Bill Murray movie I watched was Groundhog Day? And I had one word of a note, which was the funny name of the editor, Pembroke J. Herring, who apparently is a very talented editor. Okay. What did I like about this? Alright, Sam Rockwell dances in this movie, and on the Down in Front guys mention how in every movie Sam Rockwell is in, Sam Rockwell will dance. And I was waiting for this to sort of come true, and it does a little while later in the movie. And I'm going to have to talk about things I liked, but I talk about things I didn't like, okay? So, which is a whole lot of this movie. Like, I think this movie gets a bad rap. It's like, no, this movie gets the exact rap it should, because this movie is infantile. Like, in the very beginning of the movie, they're on a plane. Well, none of the angels are there. It's LL Cool J in this big, African Tajiki thing, whatever they call those outfits. But it turns out that's Drew Barrymore in disguise with a Mission Impossible mask. They never pull that trick again. It's just for a wacky cheap shot in the opening. Which is ridiculous. And then, you know, they throw the guy off the plane. And on the plane they start, oh, your in-flight movie that today will be T.J. Hooker the movie. And they're like, oh, another movie based on a TV show. It's like, movie, you're not ironic enough for that to not be terrible still, okay? Though it is one long, unbroken shot, and I'm always a fan of that, and I want to encourage that. Let me see. There's a weird sort of time dilation that happens. Like, I was trying to write down the characters' names so I remember them. I wrote down Cameron Diaz was Natalie, Lucy Liu was Alex, and then when I was trying to write down Drew Barrymore's character's name, there's a little pop-up window. It said, hey, you need to update friggin' Firefox or something. I didn't catch it, and I was like, I'm not rewinding this. I'm not spending any more time than I have to with this movie. But each of them has their relationship, like their real-life relationship that they have to do. Well, Drew Barrymore has one with another character, but Lucy Liu has one with Matt LeBlanc, who I swore was supposed to be playing himself, but I think he's just playing an actor like him. And I know it's probably pretty hard to believe Matt LeBlanc is a movie star, but just, you know, hey, it's a fantasy movie. But, like, they have these things they build and they set into the tooth, which lets them communicate wirelessly to one another through radios. And here's the thing, like, okay, Tim Curry is the bad guy, and he hops up and Lucy Liu goes to the place where he gets a massage and gives him a massage. But then she also goes on a mission where they're in the restaurant, like, following him around to make certain that, like, to find where the guy was who was kidnapped. And it's like, okay, like, thank goodness he never looked at you when he was getting a massage. Because it's not like you were in disguise or anything. And then after that mission, well, actually, no, on that mission, let's talk about that for a little more. Lucy Liu finally finds Crispin Glover's character, who was walking around, and he's basically the main, like, henchman. And he says, Thin Man, 10 o'clock. I'm like, 10 o'clock relating to what? 10 o'clock relating to east? 10 o'clock relating to the front door? You're all facing different directions, or probably you can't see. What's 10 o'clock mean? So, and then there's a weird time dilation with this movie, which is the first half an hour feel like you're watching nothing at all. Then the second half starts to drag, and then the conclusion really starts to just drag. Now, I'm glad that there isn't a moment, I'll be grateful that there's no moment in the movie where they're like, okay, no, angels, and the three angels, like, split up. Maybe they did that in a sequel, I don't know. But their I don't want to say fraternity, that doesn't even make sense, but yeah, their friendship and their partnership remains intact, even in the most dire of circumstances. If you saw the Mission Impossible movie, you probably know where some of this is going. Like, the main bad guy has this little memento, where he says, yeah, it looks like I was in the war, this is my father, and he was in the war, but this other guy killed him. He's got his face covered. And I'm like, okay, well, who else in this series has their face covered? Ding, 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 spoiler. You can friggin' figure it out. I don't think I did when I was watching it, but it just was confusing, because I'm like, why is this guy's face covered? Owen Wilson's in this movie, I forgot about that. He's Cameron Diaz's lady friend character. Here's the thing. If the character in this movie acts like a teenager, like, okay, Drew Barrymore goes and sits in the car with her, like, you know, ample cleavage hanging out, and the guy just sort of stares and tries to act cool. Think, you know what, like, I'm the guy with, I have no game, let's say. I don't have nothing, but even I could probably handle that situation a little more coolly than he did. He's even wearing sunglasses. It's just like, okay, if you're wearing sunglasses, just pretend like you're not looking. Just face your head straight forward and peek your eyes the other way. Then you get to look all day. You know, this is the sophistication of this movie. Oh, God, what else is in my notes? At one point, someone who's captured carves a gun with a soap. I talked about this in Ernest Goes to Jail on Forthright. I think, no, it's way funnier in earnest, because in this one, the character just carves it out with his teeth. And then nothing ever comes of it. It's just he has a gun and then he still gets rescued. Okay, and through a moment of something else I liked, a moment of discretion on this movie's part. Nobody rides the missile that gets fired in this movie, so that's good. But okay, lips, guys, close. So yeah, it's sort of like. I'm getting confused. I have so much notes. I just have so much I want to talk about. Like, okay. All three of these actresses, Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, and Drew Barrymore, are all so beautiful. And they look great in this movie. But it's like, this is just... But, like, the first fight scene, the first major fight scene is about half an hour in, which is a little too late in the movie for my taste. But it's between the three of them and Crispin Glover. And a 3-on-1 fight scene could be really interesting. The problem is not the fact that they can float like they're in the Matrix. That's not the problem. You know what? You can get away with that if you do it with certain discretion. Like, they do that in Crouching Tiger and Hero and other things where it sort of implies, okay, yeah, they just have supernatural strength or something. Or it's done like in Romeo Must Die, where it is utterly ridiculous and ludicrous and people are just floating. I don't think it's as bad here as it is in there. But, you know, people just, they do things because they're attached to wires. And like, you know what, I'm going to forgive that. Especially if it's the villain doing it, because especially if it's the villain fighting three people, they get to do things that are crazy. The problem with the fight scenes, especially this first one, is that there's no sense of space. Things happen, you don't know where people are, people drift around, you see someone get kicked, you don't know where they fall over. There's no sense of continuity. It's impossible to follow. And the funny thing is, when the angels are separated in the climax, the fight scenes get better. They're still not great, but they're at least on the level of another, like, crummier movie. What else? Missile. There's one, like a vault that they have to get into. It's like, okay, if there's ever contact on the floor for more than 0.25 seconds, the bomb will go off. And I'm like, 0.25 seconds sounds like you just run in. Why do you gotta do the acrobatic stuff that I think was quite adroitly done in Jane Silent Bob? What else? About 40 minutes in, there's one character who I don't want to say too much in case you did, because I don't want anyone to threaten me of ruining something. But there's one character who makes something so obvious that it's just like, okay, like I know where this is going now. Now that you've made that so obvious, I know it's not the actor or actress's fault. So it's just like, this just shows how a director can just strand any actor, no matter how good or bad they are, in this thing. I haven't mentioned anything about Bill Murray, because Bill Murray doesn't do a damn thing in this movie. He looks so bored. He's just doing whatever he wants. It's like once Cameron Diaz beats a couple people in the bad guy's lair, it shows a security camera, but the security camera is just the camera footage that they had shown just a second ago. It's not a different angle. So it's like, yeah, your security camera is the camera that the director's standing behind or something? Oh, this movie is just lame. Like, there's no reason this couldn't have been that good. Alright, that's time. I need a trivet. Hang on. The one thing I did here, shut up. There we go. You're looking nice and toasty. I'm going to flip them over into this pan. If I can get that other pan out. Now here's a question this leaves us with, which is, how do I get that very hot pan out of there now that I flipped it over? I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot of animosity for this movie, but it doesn't do very much right. And then there was a sequel, and Drew Barrymore is one of the people who owns the rights to the Charlie's Angels TV show, and she apparently made a butt ton of money on these movies, because they both did pretty well. I don't know if they're going to do a third one or not, but it might be a little late at this point. Oh, here's something I want to bring up. Just, Bill Murray and Tim Curry, like, they're at this highly sophisticated party, and what's one of the things that they do is that they both dress up in those, like, rubber sumo wrestler costumes for, I'm going to crank you guys up a little bit. Those sumo wrestler, like, costumes, I swear to God, I saw at a fair once at college, but so it's like, this is supposed to be a fancy affair, and I do that thing. It's like, this movie, as I noted, is not worth whatever smoke they made Crispin Glover inhale to have his character smoke. It's like, this movie is not worth whatever small amount of time we're gonna have with Crispin Glover as an actor because of that. Alrighty. I have to adjust that in a second. But that's it from me. If you have anything you'd like to suggest for the Toast Reviews, go ahead and suggest it. I take everything into consideration, although I tend to just watch whatever I feel like, because again, I just do this to make certain I use my Netflix. Oh, someone's going to insist I watch the sequel, aren't you? You guys are cruel. Anyway, that's it from me. This is King Cool, and please drive home safe.